Good evening. Today we're going to briefly go over the subject of digital history and its advantages. And let me start by stating that digital history contains stories. And stories, for the most part, are things from the past that people have experienced or thought of that may possibly make us laugh, make us cry, that could make us reminisce, or even think, which is something that unfortunately too many people don't seem to like doing these days. And I don't mean that people don't think, since, of course, this is an automatic brain function. What I'm talking about, the type of thinking that I'm referring to, is deep thinking, reflective thinking, analytical thinking, the kind of thinking that helps people figure out how to avoid a problem, how to get out of a problem, or provide aid or guidance in some innovative or nuanced manner. However, as you know, everyone's access to information is not the same. And books, as well as entire libraries, have been known to be lost to fire, war, vandalism, or some other calamity. But digital history provides us with another resource where we can have access to more information that may not have been located in a physical library or a library that is in our immediate proximity. The news articles which I looked into this week, which have been preserved digitally, involve Jim Crow. This, of course, is a continuation of what I have been dealing with for these past few weeks with respect to African American history. And in this particular article, which was called Jim Crow, I found out more about this little known history of this man called Thomas Dartmouth Rice, who helped to popularize the word Jim Crow and expand the negative stereotype about African Americans in the 19th and early 20th century. Then, in addition, I found an article that was entitled Decisions Against Jim Crow Laws, Governor's Defiance. This highlighted a defiant Southern governor named Eugene Talmadge of Georgia, who stubbornly opposed desegregation in his state despite laws to the contrary, one of which is the 13th Amendment from the 1860s. In addition, there was also an article that I came across called The Jim Crow Law, Booker T. Washington's Hard Case, which defied the Jim Crow law by showing that although he would not be allowed to ride with whites, he would be able to get where he went by purchasing his own rail car, which he apparently did so that he would not have to be in a dilapidated car that was not fit for humans of any ethnicity, black or white. Lastly, I thought it fitting to include the news article that I read relating to the folly of Jim Crow, entitled Jail 60 Airmen for Defying Jim Crow Order. This was about 60 African American officers who were placed under military arrest by a white colonel because he didn't like the idea of them eating together in a foxhole with white officers, although they were fighting together, under threat of constant enemy gunfire and had nowhere else to eat. Besides these articles, I came across another article which I thought might be interesting. This was called the New Jim Crow Law. And I thought that it would provide me with some insight into the evolution of the Jim Crow evolution in the United States. Instead, this article turned out to be about two satirical poems, which involved an air raid roof spotter who was looking out for an enemy aircraft on the rooftops in what was apparently England. The article mentioned Jim Crow, and I don't know whether it was applauding the African Americans by doing so or making fun of their condition despite their contributions to downing enemy aircraft over the skies of Europe during World War II. Either way, I thought it would be worth noting that Britain's Prime Minister, Winston Churchill, had supposedly sanctioned the work of those whom the article dubbed as Jim Crows. The irony of this article, if there's such a thing to be said here, is that the writer did not clearly define what these individuals called Jim Crow did. What I did discover was that Churchill was responsible for ordering blacks to fight against the Irish Republican Army. However, the ambiguity of this article called the New Jim Crow did not provide me with much information, and so I could not say for sure whether there was a correlation between this article and the IRA fight, which was conducted by Africans given that authority to do so by Winston Churchill. And of course, the word Jim Crow was a code word for black people. But the satirical poem did at the end state that Jim Crow was honest. So they gave him that much. Further information of this sort, what I'm dealing with this week, is conveyed in the article that I have posted online along with this video. And if you care to look at it, I would appreciate it. And thank you. Have a great week. Bye now.